Hey MotoAmerica fans, this is Max Flinders. Make sure you go to MotoAmerica YouTube channel and subscribe, comment, like. If you see me, definitely put a thumbs up.
You've landed on the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship. From the Ridge Motorsports Park in Shelton, Washington, it's the Komatsu MotoAmerica Superbikes at the Ridge. Launching right into our SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup point standings. How they rate so far: Tyler Scott with a slim 4-point advantage over Ben Gloddy. Cody Wyman and Gus Rodeo also race winners so far this season. Hello everyone and welcome to the broadcast booth. I'm Greg White, standing alongside Jason Pridmore, two-time world champion. Now Jason, SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup has been interesting this season. Without Rocco Landers, we've seen more winners this season than we have over the last two.
Yeah, no question. And just coming back from Wisconsin, those battles at the front that we saw, those guys battling as hard as they were with the draft and the redraft. Now we come to a different track, a little bit more technical here at the Ridge. So we're going to see if one of those four guys can continue to win, or maybe we get a new one today.
Let's take a look at Gus Rodeo, who was our last winner last time we were on the racetrack. And Jay, coming back from injury, he did awesome.
Yeah, he was injured here just a year ago, but we had made mention that this guy is ready to get on the podium, and he did it in grand style at Wisconsin, Greg, managing to get himself to the front of the 7-rider pack at the end to win his first national.
So Gus Rodeo gets his first win, and it was a close one, and he had a chance to catch up with Hannah Lopa.
Gus, last round, a career first podium for you, and it also happened to be a career first win. Tell us a little bit about what that meant to you to finally be able to pull that off.
Yeah, I was just looking for a podium. I mean, it was my first one, and I hadn't gotten any. So, yeah, I was just looking for a podium and came out on top. So it was definitely like confidence boosting.
Does that help your confidence coming into the Ridge, where last season we saw you with a season-ending injury here?
Yeah, that definitely. I mean, last time I was here wasn't a great weekend, but I've already gone 2 seconds faster than last year, and I feel way more confident on this track. So I think it would mean a lot to do good here.
Best of luck out there. Thank you, Gus.
And what about this guy, Tyler Scott, our only STG Junior Cup rider on a podium streak? He's got 2. Can he make it 3?
I'd have to say that's probably my guy, Roger. Tyler Scott looks to be the one. You look at his qualifying efforts. In combined qualifying, he was 0.8 of a second faster than Ben Glotti. Now, that's not race pace. That's just out there in qualifying. We've seen guys be able to last the entire race. We've seen guys not be able to last the entire race. But as far as qualifying, he was head and shoulders above the rest.
And he's been fast all weekend, and it seems like he's kind of really coming into his own. At Road America, on the Sunday morning warm-up, he was quite a bit faster than the other guys. So, you know, we're going to see what he can do today. He qualified quite a bit ahead of the other guys, 0.8, which is huge in this class. So we're going to find out, but also things can change. We've seen it all day. Things change with this heat, and that could happen in this race as well.
This class is generally like a hornet's nest. I mean, you saw that race for the lead. You know, the Gus Rodeo took the victory, but there were 7 guys at any given time. You saw Max Van, Blake Davis. Any of those guys can win on a given weekend. Probably the most parity we have in our field. The guy never got in a podium and he gets a win.
Yeah, so many. I mean, you just seen in the last video before this race, there were 7 or 8 riders in that one pocket at Road America. So you never know in this. I mean, all the way down to 8th, 9th place. Jack Roach is in, you know, qualifies 10th. All those guys could step up and, you know, get on the podium or win this week.
We also have a newcomer. Look for the 31, Kayla Yakov on the Kawasaki. And she's going to be a familiar face in MotoAmerica. Moving up from the Mini Cup, we're going to see what she does at her first national event of her career in MotoAmerica. But Tyler Scott's going to lead the field. Ben Gloddy and Max Toth, another name to look for on the start. And also Junior Cup winner Cody Wyman on that second row. Let's send it back to the board.
Back at the Ridge Motorsports Park on a very warm day, to say the least. And you can see the heat coming off the track in the grandstand. Still tons of people showing up for SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup. But Jay, there's been extreme depth in this class this season with the exit of Rocco Landers. And I'll tell you something, man. Ty Scott, he's got 5 podiums with 2 wins.
We'd heard a lot about him, hadn't we, before Atlanta, and he came in and showed us why. He wins there in Atlanta, won again in race 1 at Wisconsin. And, you know, he's proven right now that he's the only one on that KTM, Greg, but he's done a good job. How about Ben Gloddy? Ben Gloddy, we saw chasing those guys a lot last year, chasing Rocco Landers, chasing Dominic Doyle. And Ben Gloddy finally got his first win as well in Atlanta, and then had another win at VIR. And then, of course, Cody Wyman. We've seen Cody the last couple of years, maybe not as competitive as we thought he would be. He jumps on this Kawasaki Ninja 400, gets hooked in with his dad. They've been going to the races and seeing a lot of success in Gus Rodeo. What can you say? This kid goes to Road America on top of that big battle, comes back to the Ridge, and he's ready to go again today.
4 race winners, all first time this season. Jason, the Ridge Motorsports Park, nearly 2.5 miles, but tons of fun.
Yeah, great track. Go down to that chicane, Greg. They made that so these guys weren't going down into turn 1 even faster, but we'll see a little bit of drafting in this class. After turn 2, you head up onto that ridge. That whole section from turn 2 all the way to turn 13 is up on top of that hill, and then 13, 14, 15 brings them back down here onto the front straightaway.
So the Ridge Motorsports Park, freshly paved, and it's all about that grip. But what about this guy, Benjamin Glotti? He started off the season with 5 podiums, wasn't there last time. Can he get on the box again?
Well, you talk about Ben Gloddy. I think that was the anomaly, Ben Gloddy not being on the podium. But again, with all these guys being so competitive and all eyes looking at Ty Scott, I'd asked you about this before. You know, with this not being a drafting type track, the objective for Ty Scott, get out in front and check out and don't let those guys close in?
Exactly. Do what we've seen the guy do in the previous race. Get the whole shot, check out, put your head down. Don't get in a battle with these guys. That'll slow you up. And also, if I was the other guys, I would be taking my shots at him every chance I can get on that first lap and not let him get away.
Max Toth, the 58, another front runner that we could be looking for here in the Junior Cup, where it has it that he's going to be even moving into the Twins Cup as well at the next round at Laguna Seca. So it shows you he's trying to show everybody that he's got that speed, maybe get a bigger and better ride for next year. But again, Tyler Scott leads the field. Ben Gloddy looking for another victory, and Max Toth looking for his first in MotoAmerica. Stick with us as Jason and Greg take it away.
Today's STG Junior Cup coverage is sponsored by SportbikeTrackGear.com, the motorcycle apparel and parts specialists, and in part by Geico Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car or motorcycle insurance. And Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
Junior Cup motorcycles on track for their warm-up lap, which means it's time for us to talk about this grid. Tyler Scott at 152.230 and a new track record.
Almost a second quicker than Ben Gloddy, and Max Toth rounds out the front row with Wyman Rodeo and David Kolstad. David local from up in this area, outside row 2. Then we got Max Vandenbroek, Blake Davis, Hayden Bickneys, Jack Roach, Aiden Thau, and Chase Black there in row number 4. A little further back, Greg on to row number 5. I'm going to be looking at Kayla Yakov. Great to see Yakova. Sorry. Great to see her here this weekend. Avery Dreyer, Owen Williams, Ryan Kressep, Kale Essman, and Alex Ricci. So Kayla's been overseas. She was racing last weekend. I saw her over there, and this is going to be her MotoAmerica debut this weekend. So great to see her out here on the grid.
So warm-up lap. Ben Gloddy trying to put some heat in his tires, number 72. And Jason, we have seen some close, incredible racing in this SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup class. Do we expect anything different?
No, we don't. I think it's going to be really close again. Although, when we were at Road America, Ben Gloddy qualified some over a second quicker than everybody else and couldn't get away. This is a little bit more of a technical racetrack, so I think everybody's going to have, you know, looking at what Ty Davis has done in there at the front, I think everybody's going to have an eye on this number 70. They don't want to let him get too far out in front, Greg, because this isn't the place. I'm sorry, Tyler Scott. This isn't the place where you're going to be able to draft and kind of keep up with people. And, man, this kid looked fast all weekend long so far.
Really, just dialed in. He was one of our competitors who the Tuesday, Wednesday after Road America was able to get to Brainerd for a test. It's time for race number 1 of the SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup class from the Ridge Motorsports Park. The lights are on, revs are up, clutches are out, A little bit of a bobble from our pole sitter, Ty Scott, but he's able to gather it back up. And oh, rider down in the back.
Wow, I wonder who that is. And that's on the left-hand side. Trying to get a bike number, couldn't get it.
Looked like 51, Cale Essman.
All right,
perhaps.
Tyler Scott, though, Greg, he's got off to a quick start here. You can see he's already starting to gap just a little bit. And as we get closer in, we'll be able to tell who each one of these guys are that are moving through. Looks like Ben Gloddy there in second. Obviously, he wants to try to get off the front pack there too with Ty Scott. He really closes in a lot through that turn 4-5 area, so he's closed the gap as they get down here into turn number 6. Looks like Toth there, Rodeo. Cody Wyman is in there as well, so those guys are all going to start to get bunched up, and you can see different lines here. Ben Gloddy, I noticed yesterday, can run a much more constant radius line through turn 6. Some of the other kids like to let that bike run out in the middle, but Ben Gloddy's able to keep that bike nice and tight, and you can see he's closed that gap down. I mean, it was half a second off the start there. And he's able to get on the back of the number 70 now of Ty Scott as they come up over the top of turn 9.
You can hear these Junior Cup bikes, and the word is that Essman is up and walking okay. But back to the race here. It's Ty Scott leading the way from Ben Gloddy. These two have been standouts in our championship, but it really, the last race we had, it was Ben Gloddy with an unexpected finish of where he only scored 9 points, seventh position for Ben Gloddy, who was our championship leader at some point.
He just got shuffled back there in that second race that we watched in Wisconsin a few weeks ago. So that's what happened with him. And but now he wants to get going right off the bat here. And I'm really impressed with Toth as well, as he's able to close that gap on the 58 bike there. He's able to close that gap down to the leaders as well.
Onto the front straightaway for the first time. Let's welcome in the third member of our team, Hannah Lopa. What's up, Hannah?
Greg, the temperature is steadily rising. We have broken into the triple digits here this afternoon, 100 degrees even, 126 degrees out on track right now. So it's going to be a long 11 laps for these guys.
Yeah, it certainly is. Wow, 100 degrees. And I'll tell you something, Jason, when you're looking at this freshly paved Ridge Motorsports Park, and that asphalt's so dark, it just soaks up all of that heat, all of that sun. And man, it can make for a greasy race later on in the race for sure.
It can, but these guys are young. They just want to ride. So here you're going to see Gloddy's, that time Ty's able to keep that bike down low. Tyler Scott able to keep that bike down low as well. Opening lap there, he let it run out a little bit. Maybe he hurt Gloddy up underneath him at the beginning of the race on that first lap, so he was able to keep it a little bit lower. You can see him short shifted on the exit of turn number 7 and 8. Now they're in the turn 9 area again. They've just pulled out a little bit of a gap over Toth, and you can see Gloddy's fast up over the top of the hill. Is he going to try to make a move? Not close enough here.
You can hear rev limiters bouncing in the audio that we get. Tyler Scott, 16 years old on that Scott Power Sports KTM RC390R, a bike which we hadn't seen compete here in a couple of years in SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup category. And of course, Ben Gloddy, 15 years old, out of New Hampshire on that Landers Racing Kawasaki. Corner speed critical as Ty Scott with a little wheelie down the hill, having a bit of fun. Like to see that.
A little bit further back, we got Kolstedt and Wyman and Gus Rodeo here in this group, it looks like, with Max Van just off the back of them. So he's trying to close that gap, is the number 48 as well. And just behind him, you can see Blake Davis is there and Jack Roach 9th. And we're looking to see here, Gus Rodeo has gone down our screen just a little bit. Oh, he just lost a spot to Cody Wyman. He's still there, obviously, but he lost a spot. And as those guys go through the chicane, Gus is going to be putting his head back down to try to get after Cody Wyman just in front of him. 52.6 you can see by Scott up in the front. And then there's a 52.8 from Ben Gloddy right behind him. So those guys have separated themselves, Greg, a little bit, about 1.1 seconds between Toth and Scott at the moment.
152.650, the new race lap record around the Ridge Motorsports Park. It was a 53.3 by Rocco Landers set last year. All side by side.
That was
race
close.
for position. And boy, that can be a little bit hectic when you're racing Wyman, because Wyman doesn't like to give up any positions. But Gus Rodeo, last time we were on the racetrack, was our race winner. The number 96 on that red and white motorcycle with the eyeballs staring at you as Rodeo has a look over his shoulder. So it's Tyler Scott out front, Benjamin Gloddy, and it's Max Toth, 58, just ahead of Cody Wyman.
And this is kind of one of the few races that we'll see all year in this category where you're going to see separation. There'll be a little bit more separation just because of the kind of circuit that the Ridge is. A lot more corners, no real long straightaways to speak of here. So it's very much a technical track. Like you see here, very rarely do these guys get down to second gear at too many of the tracks that we go to. But at this place, they definitely will, and that's going to be one of the spots. Toth doing his best to keep up with these two guys. You can see he is back on the back of them again, Greg, is that number 58.
Tyler Scott, he's never ridden here before, and he's already broken track records and race lap records. He said this track is so physical, it's a lot of rider, but it really suits his riding style. He likes to train a lot of core and lower body to kind of manage that. He said this weekend they've been working on suspension and trying to manage his tire throughout. He said this could be the race where he can finally try and pull a gap. He thinks it's going to be a small group, but he planned to get out front early on. He said drafting is kind of hard here, so he wanted to really rely on his setup.
Well, he's done all that, and it's good that he's fit and he's young, and we've heard many things about him prior to the season. And what he's trying to do right now is break these other two guys, and Gloddy's done a really nice job. Toth just loses a little bit of time in that first sector. Tyler Scott, though, is just keep pushing as hard as he can. 52.6 that time by. So he was almost half a second off his best time that last time through. Sometimes, Greg, you can just push to the point where you start making little mistakes here, little mistakes there, and that's what you can actually see when you see the difference in times. Now, Toth, on the other hand, back there in third, he's good in the last half of this lap. He closes back up on these two leaders at the front from about this point on all the way to the finish line. So if he can kind of figure out what he needs to do to pick up that pace in the first part of the racetrack, first half of the racetrack, really, for the 58, that will help him a lot going into tomorrow.
And Jason, if viewers are watching our Hono Superbike class and they watch those motorcycles go around this racetrack and the lines that they choose, what is the difference here? Because Junior Cup, as we have a rider out of this one, the 69 to Hayden Bickneys is out. But, Jay, when we look at those lines, comparing the two, they're a lot different, aren't they?
Yeah, compared to our Superbikes, absolutely.
Yeah,
these guys run a lot of corner speed, and really the turns that you're going to notice that a lot are turns like 11 and 12, the tighter corners. These guys open up the radius a little bit more, and they carry that roll speed all the way through. And they're actually out on the curbings a lot in places on the exit of the corners where you'll see the Superbikes, because they're bigger, obviously, bikes, and they can get the emphasis to get those bikes turned and get them up off the edge of the tire a little bit more. You're going to see them not use as much track on the exit of some of these corners, where these guys, they're just going to roll through things and get out onto those curbings. And it's great that we have those here at the Ridge that allows them to kind of get out there on that paint and not feel threatened.
So Tyler Scott continues to lead the way over Benjamin Gloddy, and Max Toth is just hanging back there, waiting for his moment to strike. Six and a half laps remain in the SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup race. And Ben Gloddy gets close and close, but there are moments when Ty Scott pulls out. But Gloddy is looking like he's thinking he's figured something out.
Well, he's testing some spots to see if there's going to be enough room for him to make it through. And this is one of the places where he's obviously very fast coming up over the top of this hill. But even going down, you saw there, Greg, into turn 8, you know, he's trying to pick his spots of where he thinks he might be able to make a pass. And it's going to be a surprise pass as well, because I'm sure Tyler Scott probably thought he could get away, much like Ben Gloddy did at Road America. When you have almost a second, almost full 1 second gap in qualifying, probably gives you the sense of feeling that, hey, I can pull away from all these guys. But now Gloddy's done everything he can, and Toth is right on the back of them again. 53.0, fastest lap of his race personally for Max Toth on the last lap through. So he's only lap time to lap time about 4/10.
I thought for a moment
Toth is there.
Yeah, but I thought that Scott's foot came off the peg. But in the couple of weeks since we've had Road America and talking to Benjamin Gloddy, he goes up and races a 600 up at his local track in Loudon, New Hampshire in a CCS race. So
here we go. He's going to have a go, Greg, down into turn number 1. And it looks like he didn't quite get close enough. But you could see they could actually utilize a little bit of that draft. And right towards the end of that straightaway, Gloddy had thoughts of trying to get past the number 70 there of Scott down into turn 1. So he's starting to fire some shots off. And that time by Toth, 53.1. So all these guys, 53.4 for the leader, 53.1 for the two guys behind him. So really impressed to see how these two have hung on to the back of that KTM.
So it is Ty Scott and that Scott Power Sports KTM, Ben Gloddy in the Landers Racing Ninja 400. And then you have Max Toth on the Veloce Racing Kawasaki Ninja 400, that red and white motorcycle.
Now let's see if he has a go here, Greg, because last lap through he did a little test run to try to get down the inside Ty Scott. This time he's not close enough. Last lap he was a little bit closer than that. But Gloddy's going to be coming under fire from the guy behind him as well. It looks like Toth has found a little something in that first split. He just ran his personal best first split of the race, a 36.8. That's going to give him a lot of confidence because all through here we already know how fast Toth is through this sector.
Boy, Gloddy looks like he would have something there, but just can't quite. It's like that last little bit when Scott rolls off the throttle and onto the brakes that he just lunges another bike length or two ahead of Gloddy.
Yep. And this is a really hard place to do it. It's such a big commitment, and Gloddy's having a look. Is he going to be able to try it, Greg?
There he
having a go.
He's going. Oh, it just door closes on him. But Gloddy's still able to get it to the apex, but an opportunity almost for the 58 of Toth. Boy, Gloddy right now is just not interested in following anymore, but there's a bit of a gap. You can see him coming down the hill. They got another couple bike lengths on Toth, but Toth's going to have a double draft. Can he scooch right back up onto the back or into the chicane? Is Gloddy going to have a go? He goes to the inside. He's looking for it. Nope, nothing going there.
Yeah, he really wants to try. It was really good bike handling skills at the top of turn 13. I can't express to those at home that are watching how tight it gets up at the top of that hill, and it's a big commitment to go ahead and make that pass because it actually drops away from you so much that if you don't have all your braking and you're able to release that lever, what ends up happening is you hold the lever on for a little bit too long, and it's very, very likely that you can lose the front there at the top of that hill. He is fast through turn 4 here. Is Gloddy really fast through 4 and 5. Ty Scott goes in there, Greg, and what he does is he drives himself right down to the apex of the corner and then kind of runs that constant radius all the way around so it doesn't allow Gloddy to go up underneath him.
Boy, this one just feels like a heart pounder going to the last couple of laps. As we have about 4.5 laps to go, different lines being taken as Ben Gloddy. Oh, interesting. So
yeah,
a look
Scott
over the shoulder for Scott, but wrong shoulder.
Yeah, wrong shoulder because Gloddy had positioned himself kind of into the right-hand side there.
No move here. Working the gears. That's typical. Scott's able to really kind of get a tighter line and still be able to get a drive.
Yeah, and they're going to be going back probably 2 or 3 gears there for that turn 11 complex. This is all kind of the slow corner parts. Everybody's looking back. Toth's going to see that there's nobody behind him, and Ben's going to see that he's got somebody right up behind him. So it's going to be interesting to see how these guys play this out. They're going to have 4 laps to go when they come by.
So onto the front straightaway. When we come across the line, Tyler Scott, who's leading the way, will have 4 laps to go in the SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup race. Pitboard information as Ben Gloddy, is he finally going to do it? It's the lunge for the lead, and he takes the spot. Now what happens, Jason?
Well, you know, now it's a matter of Toth trying to do the same thing, but Ty Scott now is going to get to study Gloddy for just a little bit. Gloddy's going to put his head down. This is the one spot where the 72 looks a little bit faster. When they kick it back over to the left-hand side of the tire here, Gloddy is extremely faster here. You're going to see him probably open up just a little bit of a gap. As you can see, it's starting to appear, but that's going to tell Ty Scott that that's a spot that he wants to continue to get better at. Look at the drive the KTM got. Just now he's on the outside of Gloddy.
Yeah, but that particular corner right there, Jason, that's where Ty Scott has been going tighter, and Gloddy was studying that and kind of pinched it off a little bit.
He did.
Forcing him to go the long way around. So, new race leader in Ben Gloddy, Ty Scott in second. Here's a pass, Jason.
Yeah, you can see the size difference between the 2 kids as well, and Gloddy's a lot bigger. He probably can use his body a little bit more to his advantage to get this bike to do some of the things it wants it to do, get the bike to load a little bit better as he goes left to right through the middle of this chicane. And but you can see how tight this group is together now.
Jason, for Ben Gloddy, he said he's been fighting front chatter all weekend long, so they really wanted to kind of manage their setup for the start of the race. But he said as the tires start to go off, that chatter feels better. So I think that's why we're seeing him really strong right now. He said in the corners he has to carry a little bit more roll speed than he's seeing from Tyler Scott. So it's harder for him to get the bike turn and get back to wide open. But it seems like it's working pretty well for him right now.
Yeah, he's working it definitely, but Ty Scott also, Jason, is now going to go to school really, and just look at what Ben Gloddy has to offer.
Yeah, Ben gets on the gas really early in the last left-hander here, and it pushes him a little bit out to the right, so it makes the little kink right onto the front straightaway a little bit harder for him. And you can see Toth now having a little look up under Ty Scott. So, I mean, when he goes back and he watches this video, that'll be maybe somewhere that Ben can look at as far as changing maybe a couple little things there. I think that obviously he was able to get by going down into turn 1, but he's not been able to get away, and Ty Scott makes a big move.
What a lunge by Tyler Scott to take the lead again. What's Gloddy going to do? That had to catch him by surprise. All the while, Toth, who's had 2 third-place finishes this year, trying to figure out how to better that position. Boy, if it all goes wrong for the 70 and the 72, Toth is going to be sitting with a big smile on his face. Late stage of this race, not quite going up the inside for Ben Gloddy.
You can see he kind of opens up that turn a little bit more, and he's going to be committed to going down the inside of Gloddy as he goes to get a downshift. Gloddy gets passed on the inside, and Tyler Scott's able to pull away as they get to the top of this hill. But you can see on the right-hand side of our screen, there's a better look at it as he goes up underneath Gloddy. These guys are still tied together. Gloddy had an idea just there, Greg, on the right side of our screen to go up underneath Scott into turn 11, but that door was firmly slammed shut. And you can see Toth now. Gloddy must have missed a gear, so it's going to move Toth up to second. So it's going to be up to Toth now with 2 laps to go to try to get this gap back down. Maybe Ben Gloddy has a problem. He looks down. Almost looked down at the linkage or something, didn't he?
He almost did. Like, he went into that corner in second spot, and it looks like
he can't get it in gear. He's got a problem.
Yeah, he can't get it in gear right now. So for Ben Gloddy, not total disaster yet if he can hold on and finish third in this one. So now it's down to a 2-horse race. Number 70, Ty Scott. Number 58, Maxwell Toth. And Toth has been sitting around watching those 2 the entire race, and I'm sure Toth has a plan, but it's not going to be executed right now.
Yeah, well, he's done a really nice job. It would have been easy for him to let those 2 leaders get away early like it looked like they were going to do a couple times, but he's able to get those guys back in his sights, and now he finds himself in second. He's going to come by the next lap with a 1-lap flag out, and he'll see if he looks at his board. He doesn't really have a lot of pressure right now behind him, does Maxwell Toth, so he's going to be able to fully focus on what he wants to try to do with Tyler Scott, although Tyler Scott's trying to pull the pin, but this hasn't been Toth's best part of the racetrack this first half. Look for him to close this gap back down by the time they get to turn 8.
So Toth, out of Belmont, California, 15 years old, going after his elder statesman Ty Scott at 16 years old. This class designed to showcase young rider talent here in the United States, and you're looking at 2 of the best that MotoAmerica is producing. Toth has had all race long to try to figure out what he can do, where he's going to try to attack Tyler Scott. Off in the distance, though, is the thought of right now Toth is in a position to get his best podium result in MotoAmerica. How hungry is the 58? The corners are winding down. Not a lot left in this race with about a lap and a half to go. And JU called it. He's right there trying to utilize whatever draft's available. Time to come off the ridge for the penultimate time. Down to the bottom of 14. Into 15. Transition back to 16. Scott using a lot of racetrack, transitions back, has that gap. So Toth knows that from this position, he can't do anything with Scott because there is the white flag, and that would have been the finish. So he's got to go now. So the 58 under braking into the chicane. Toth goes to the lead on the final lap.
Now he's got to watch for the move. You see Ty Scott look back, but Toth's got to be careful that Scott doesn't come back up underneath him in this spot like he attacked Gloddy now. He's been able to make it through here. As they come up over the top of this crest, this is going to be key. Toth's got to get himself and move himself over to the left when they go down into turn 6, Greg, but he's done a really nice job. Probably the best we've seen him get through that first sector. Now, it's just, as you can see, Greg, he's moved himself over to the left to kind of close that door and not give Ty Scott a place to get through.
Veloce Racing's Maxwell Toth trying to hold on to this lead on this final lap. Putting everything he's got into it. 2 podium finishes this year. Trying to just skip second place and go for the win. Jay, he's looking awfully good right now. Into the tuck he goes.
Yeah, but I think number 70 there, I think Ty Scott's going to take a shot. Just not exactly sure right now, but these are the couple corners. These next 4 or 5 corners where Toth has been extremely good. He keeps it tight and neat and going into there, so it's not going to allow Scott to do anything with him as they come out of here and go into turn 12. So it's going to be the run down to turn 13. And again, he's got a nice little gap right now on Ty Scott. I think he's done enough here.
Coming off the ridge for the final time into turn number 13, the slowest corner on the racetrack. Toth trying to get it stopped. Oh, a little bit there, no problem. He flicks it back over. Now to the bottom. All that waits is the flick to the right and the front straightaway. Has Toth done enough? Here he comes onto the straightaway. Scott in a full tuck trying to catch the draft. Now the drag race to the checkered flag. The line awaits, and it's going to be Maxwell Toth with the win. What a race by the 15-year-old. And the Veloce Racing crew cheering in the background. And this Wyman battle with Gus Rodeo, that is for 5th spot. And Gus Rodeo will take the spot away from Cody Wyman. Max Van in 7th, Blake Davis. But Jay, what can you say about a performance? He did it when he needed to.
And we got another new winner. So we saw Max struggle, obviously, at Laguna last year, at Road Atlanta a little bit this year. Just seemed like he couldn't catch a break. Now he's come out here at race number 1 here at the Ridge in these conditions. Won that race, did a really nice job of keeping those 2 guys honest in front of him for the longest time. And then when Ben Gloddy had a problem, it made it a little bit easier for him to get up to Ty Scott, and he made a perfect pass. They went into turn 1 and ran a really nice last lap.
Unbelievable. It's time to take a break. When we come back, our 5th winner of the season. We're going to talk to him and find out how he got this one done. You don't want to miss that.
And the 5th win, a 5th different winner this season in this class. Unbelievable. After those 2 third-place finishes, he had one at VIR and another one at Road America, and Max Toth finally has good luck instead of bad luck. And I don't even want to call it luck. He had good fortune. He put himself in the position to take that victory, and the 58 Veloci entry does do it. You looked at me and said, can we just have a good race? You did. You got your good race.
That was a great race. And, you know, Max Toth, he played that out perfectly. You know, waited till the end, hung in there the first couple laps, and had a really good pass into the chicane, and held him off to the finish. It's really, we've been talking about it all the time about he's just had a lot of bad luck, you know, caught up in other people's mistakes. So it was cool to see him come out here and get that win.
Yeah, and a rider that both of those guys up front came from Europe, and now he and Tyler Scott in the U.S. trying to win a championship. Ben Gloddy looked like he had some type of linkage, shifter problem. He was there towards the end, and if those guys stood each other up and made a mistake, he was there to pounce. But I think that helped Max Toth. He had one less rider to worry about, and he could put all his focus into Tyler Scott.
And also, I just think that, you know, Max Toth was just all in for the win. He's wanted to win so bad. But Ben Gloddy was definitely struggling with, you know, his back shifting into turn 13. I'm sure a lot of these, you know, Junior Cup guys are going back to first gear through there. So I'm not sure if he was catching a false neutral or what. But, you know, that headed with only a couple laps to go was definitely a big mistake.
Looking at the guys, they make their way towards Park Ferme. Ben Gloddy does finish 3rd. David Kolstad up to 4th. Gus Rodeo puts the move on Cody Wyman. Both of those guys winners. He can add, you know, Max Toth to the list as well. Tyler Scott, race winner this season. Max Van in the top 7. Once again, Blake Davis. Kayla Yakov in her MotoAmerica debut. A top 10 finish. Impressed with a young lady.
Yeah, that's a great finish, especially because she had that crash yesterday morning in the first session, so kind of set her back for the weekend. So for her to come in here, her first Junior Cup race, get a top 10, her lap times were not too far off, even the group in front of her. I expect her probably to learn a lot today and be a little stronger tomorrow.
You did. It worked. It worked. It worked.
It worked. Whatever it is, it worked. And Max getting some celebration or congratulations from Sean Dillon Kelly. And this was his race. He just sat back there and watched and made it happen there towards the end. Got aggressive, and there's the past champion possibly passing the torch on. Rocco Landers moving up into the Super Sport. And also, we haven't talked about it, Max Toth in the Veloci entry. He's going to be moving into Twins Cup at Laguna Seca maybe as well. He's going to be fast, whatever bike he's on.
Yeah, he's a guy that's got a lot of experience for our younger riders. Did some stuff overseas, and we heard a lot about him before he even got his first race last year at Laguna. Had a lot of hype, and now he's really, you know, Laguna was definitely a lot of bad luck. He was caught up in a lot of other people's accidents, and even the beginning of this year was the same. So now we're really starting to see all this stuff we heard about. We're starting to see it now.
Yeah, he was very impressive last year, Laguna, and I got to talk to him away from the track. He kind of ran out of tarmac one particular time. If you're Tyler Scott, that might be the one that got away, but he still put on a tremendous run at the end and had still an opportunity. He finishes 1/10 of a second behind Max Toth. We still have another day of racing tomorrow for those of you watching online, but also here on site. So we run through the full program. We also have some Moto Mini Cups. And you can see Tyler's a little gas there towards the end as well.
Definitely Tyler Scott's going to be a little disappointed whenever you have such a big gap all weekend. And he got the start that he wanted. He just couldn't make the break. But for him, you know, he beat Ben Gloddy, extended his points lead a little bit.
Yes.
And
he was faster in certain areas, too. He's just got to work on those areas he wasn't quite as fast at. Trying to stay in the shade and get ready for another race tomorrow. But that first win in a national championship for Max Toth. He skips the second step on that podium, goes straight to the top. Little sigh of relief there for Max Toth. Tyler Scott, Ben Gloddy going to fulfill that podium. We'll send it back over to the guys. Congratulations, Max Toth. All this talk, well, you finally paid it off. You are on top of the box at the Komatsu MotoAmerica Superbikes at the Ridge.
Today's Junior Cup race coverage has been sponsored by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
Welcome back. Our final results have Max Toth over Tyler Scott and Ben Gloddy. And I've got to note the 9th place finisher, Kayla Yakov, in her MotoAmerica debut. What a great result for the young lady, 14 years old. We expect to see more of her. Let's get right down to Hannah, though, who's got our winner, our 5th of the season, Hannah.
Greg, for Maxwell Toth, it's his 3rd podium this season, but a career first victory in our STG Junior Cup and a first victory for Veloce Racing this season. Max, where were you able to find the strength to push so hard at the end for this victory?
I had the strength all throughout the race. That was my plan, to go through and kind of sit in the back, kind of see what they're going to do. If they make any mistakes, obviously I could take that opportunity, but I wanted to sit and pounce at the last 2 laps, and that's what we did, so we brought it home. I'm happy about it.
Congratulations, Maxwell Toth, today's race winner.
What does the saying go, Jason? I love it when a plan comes together.
Yeah, and it did for him, and that's a great interview because it sounds like he had a really nice plan. I bet there's things that he'll do tonight to try to make that bike maybe even a little bit better for himself tomorrow, make it a little easier to stay with those guys, especially at the beginning. But his plan worked to perfection. He did a great job at the final last lap pass, and let's get on back down to Hannah.
2nd place today goes to Tyler Scott. Tyler, you were leading for the majority of that race. Where do you think that you made a mistake that Toth was able to get around you?
Yeah, I tried to lead the race and pull away early, but it didn't just happen, and it's super hot out. There's sweat pouring down my face during the race, but the bike worked great, all thanks to KTM, Arai Helmets, Bob Robbins, Dale Quarterly, the whole team, Muffin Man. My mom supported me from home, but it was a good race, and hopefully tomorrow will go as well.
Was there anything that you learned from today's race that you can apply tomorrow to help you improve one position?
We learned a little bit about the hot asphalt to adjust the suspension and tire pressure a little bit, but overall good race and great job to Max Toth.
Congrats, guys.
All right, Jay, and sweat rolling down your face in a race is no joke, especially if it gets in your eyes.
It's horrible. Yeah, it is horrible. And there's things that you can do to make that better for you. So he'll do that tomorrow as well. It's going to be hotter. So, you know, he'll be ready for that tomorrow. And they said they made some tire pressure adjustments and things. So, but Ty gets a good solid 20 points towards his championship. Hannah?
3rd place today goes to Benjamin Gloddy. Ben, we saw you looking down at your left foot. You were having some kind of trouble there. Tell us what was going on out there.
Yeah, I don't really know what happened, just all like mid-race. I wasn't able to shift, and my ankle's hurting pretty bad right now. But, you know, it was a good race. We had the pace at the beginning, and I got down to my best lap of the weekend. Those last couple laps, I just couldn't hang in there with my ankle. But, you know, we'll give it a shot tomorrow, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without my whole Landers Racing crew, my mom, dad, CJR Performance, Dunlop, Freedom Cycle, Penguin Racing School, American Super Camp, everybody else that helps me out. Thank you.
Well, despite the pain, Benjamin Gloddy held on to third today. Guys.
Yeah, he certainly did.
Yeah, and that's what you got to do on those days when you're hurting, and you know, especially when you have something on your body that's hurting you as bad as his ankle probably is at the moment. He's got those points. You can see his left ankle, even his left leg, actually fall off the peg there too, Greg. So doesn't look like he's able to put a lot of pressure on that ankle, and those last couple laps were just hanging on.
So a great effort by Ben Gloddy to finish on the podium. Our championship standings have Tyler Scott now 8 points ahead of Ben Gloddy. Cody Wyman still in third with Gus Rodeo. Max Toth with a jump from 7th up to 5th spot. All right, that'll do it for us for the SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup class. We're doing it again. We'll have one more race for you this weekend. Make sure you tune in and check that out. For Hannah and Jason, I'm Greg. Bye.
Did it!